Principal McBride. Hey, I'm coming to you with quarter two big ideas and where we're headed with our assessments. So, this quarter, as we strive into quarter two, we are going to be continuing our backwards design unit planning, uh, creating and looking at our summatives and our formative assessments, and utilizing criteria to ensure that students understand standards and benchmarks. So they're really reaching towards that standard and being assessed on standards learning. Again, we're in that third year of discourse. So we will be doing walkthroughs, looking for those discourse strategies in action later on in quarter two. And then we will jump into some small group instruction. So there will be learning before winter break and then implementation of small group instruction after winter break. So, the first thing I wanted to go through with you was that guidelines for formative assessment and grading that has come from OTL. So, that is the Office of Teaching and Learning. As we are in this pilot for standards based learning, we want to continue to ensure that our formative grades are clear and equitable reflection of the student learning. So, with that formative assessment, the scale and alignment is going to stay at a 0 to 4 scoring scale. And it will be explicitly tied to either a whole or a part of that standard or benchmark. This is different than the seed that I planted during our professional development day back in October. We because this information has come out from OTL to really clearly state what we are going to be doing for those formatives. And again, that's 0 to 4, so they can achieve a 4 on a formative. We need transparency. That means clear communication to students with the learning objectives that can be measured before the assessment. And again, achieving a 4 on a formative. So that score of 4, which is extending, must be attainable. That means it must be able to be reached on that formative assessment. If the assessment doesn't allow for students to demonstrate that level 4 on a formative, then the task must be categorized as unweighted. So that means if they cannot extend their thinking in that formative, then we are going to move that to unweighted. Now remember, unweighted is still can be graded. It's just that it falls in the category of that 0 and that 0%. With that grading, that means that they can get feedback and they can understand where they may need to strengthen up some things. And then our unit plan requirements. So we need to identify those standards. We have to create clear learning targets. We talked about it being written on the board daily. We're noticing as we're entering into rooms as an administrative team that we are not seeing it written on the board daily. And that is so that if a student was to come in late or an adult was to come in late that's supporting, maybe it's a push in, pull out co-teacher, maybe it is, I know we have some interns from high school. They need to be able to look at that board and see what that learning objective is, that target of what the kids are reaching towards so that they can support it, no matter who it is, student or staff. Those learning targets need to be and should be layered in to the unit backwards plan. So if you think about the standards, then what are those learning targets and those objectives that students really can understand that they are reaching each day? So summative assessment with rubrics. We need to have a retake plan, and that needs to be communicated to the students. As we're in this last week, I have been doing some walkthroughs on Schoology and noticing that there are summatives that are in the grade book that have not been graded, which means that students cannot retake it in this amount of time. Today is Tuesday night, in this amount of time to increase their grade. And that is 80% of their grade that they don't have an opportunity to increase, which can really result in a lot of students not reaching those standards that we need, that we are teaching them. So summatives should be the same for every teacher that teaches that course. Remember, we are planning together, we are implementing that together. How we get to those summatives, that is the art of teaching. That rubric needs to be broken down per standard. So there is not an averaging on the standards. Often, when we teach a unit, we might have, say, two different standards. Well, that summative, that rubric needs to be broken down on a 0 to 4 per standard. And then that is a 0 to 4 for each one of those standards. There should be 2 or more essential formative assessments with that success criteria or rubrics. That formative rubric can be your summative assessment rubric also. So that means what I have on a formative, that can be my summative, can be part of my summative assessment rubric as well. Because remember, it is backwards planning. So we are taking that summative, taking part of it as our formative, and maybe there's another chunk that is another part of our formative. Those discourse strategies. Purposeful planning is key. How do you want students to talk to each other? What is there for them to understand the expectations around academic language? What does extending their thinking look like? And then, of course, really taking a look at pacing. How many days for your unit, and then including those reassessment opportunities. I know in our conversations we've had some feelings around like, well, we're just doing this pilot and we're going to create all of the things for everyone else. Well, we might be. And the thing is, we know it's messy. And I've said that. It's not going to be perfect. Like, as we head into Q2, we're going to continue to fine tune what we're doing, right? Please know that there is district policy around intellectual property. That means that the district owns any rights of any work that is created by an employee of SPPS. So even if it's within the scope of their employment, and unless such work is kind of created entirely, that means all of it on their own time outside of work hours. Created without using district resources or data. And so if you are using your school laptop, whether it's in school or out of school time, the district owns that. Again, that's that intellectual property. I want us to really think that the work we are doing, yes. Is it hard? Yep, it's not the easiest thing. And we have been teaching towards standards for years. We are fine-tuning and or creating rubrics as we continue. I want us to really think that this is what isn't just for us, this is for our students, right? We want to increase their rigor, we want to increase their understanding, and we want to provide active engagement with opportunities to demonstrate their understanding. So again, yes, it might feel like it is a lot of work because it is, right? We are paving the way and learning. We're not alone. So we are going to be this Friday working with our colleagues from Murray Middle School and continuing our work. So I want you to really understand that we are innovators and know that we are different because we're doing this. And that is the expectation. We want to promote that. We ask our kids to think outside of the box, and that's what we're doing. This is the opportunity to be creative. This is the opportunity to tweak and know that it doesn't need to be perfect. I have stated it's going to be a little bit murky, and it is. It's okay. You've got this. I appreciate everything that you're doing, and continue to look forward to what we get done.